Oh,
Am I sounding low?
congratulations. The new desk. You do sound a little low compared to JJ. Give me a level, JJ.
Hello, this is me talking in the way that I talk most of the time.
Okay, Michael.
This is me talking in the way that I talk most of the time,
Okay,
and I need 90 seconds to beat the dairy farm on my first try.
What the heck is the dairy farm?
Vampire Survivors?
Oh
Level
my
3.
gosh. Wow, you're way ahead of me on that game.
Dairy farm, that's like level 3, dude.
It is level 3.
So I had what I consider
milk
to
plant. Sorry, milk
Sorry,
plant.
the milk plant. That's what I'm after.
I had. Should we start the podcast? Should we start?
Yeah, we've already started.
We've started the podcast. But before we start, JJ, Michael, I am going to have a whiskey while we have this podcast.
That sounds like a delicious idea.
Heck yeah,
So
brother.
I invite you to join me for our last live podcast of the year, people. If you are of legal drinking age in whatever place,
And I mean,
join
if-
us as well. Have a celebration if you partake.
Yeah, and if not, like, you know, hey, there's lots of good things to drink. They don't have to be alcoholic.
Coke
Hey, it's the time of
Zero.
year for apple cider.
Oh yeah,
Ooh, love a good apple cider, especially this
Dude,
time of year.
spiced apple cider
Oh,
this time.
spice it every
Mhm.
day, dude. Oh,
Mm-hmm. You made the correct call, Michael. Congratulations. I like to make, and I probably will make, mulled wine for Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah.
Mold anything.
Honestly, I love a good eggnog, and I know we talked about eggnog the other week.
Mhm.
But dude, spice cider and like mulled wine are also like such a good treat. And I like wonder
It's
if I
'cause
had
they're
it
warm.
more. Yeah, it's because they're warm, right? That's why I like it.
Mm-hmm. So I invite you to join me. I'm just letting you know that's going to be the sipping sound. I also really love that this is our multiplicity episode. It's episode 339. So, you know, that's fun. You know, and
Yep.
Vampire Survivors, Michael. Congratulations. Welcome to the team.
Yeah, thank you. It's been fun.
If you have not downloaded the DLC,
I have only been playing it on my phone.
okay, and you decide to get it on Steam, there is now JJ a DLC and game bundle, which gives you an even deeper discount of
I'm making a
30% off.
You can't see my face and the eyes bulging out, being like, "Oh my god, the value." I paid full
30%
price, and I
off.
don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Less
think-
than the cost of the burrito I had for lunch.
it was less than a cost of a cup of coffee. 1 cup of coffee now with the discount. I have bought more expensive cappuccinos this month.
There's a decent chance my burrito is cheaper than your cappuccino. I don't. And this game is still
fair
cheaper
point.
than that.
I alluded to it before the little mini intro. I loaded the game onto my Steam Deck, which we'll talk about later. And I don't know if they did a reset when the game hit 1.0, but
They did not.
oh, interesting. So loading the game onto the Steam Deck, it did not pull my cloud save of previous Vampire Survivors information. So I had to start over.
I don't know if it cloud saves.
That's an interesting question. Good point. I didn't check to see if it does.
I bet if you go start rooting around in the file system on your PC,
Mhm.
you could copy some kind of save file or whatever over to your Steam
Yeah.
Deck and get your progress back if you want.
My previous progress was to the inlaid library, which is where I am now. So it's no big deal.
Your achievements carried over, and that's what really matters in Vampire
Yeah.
Survivors.
Yeah.
I mean, all the half the weapons are new anyway, so I'm kind of relearning the game. I don't really mind. Dude,
They added so many.
in this game, can you really mind ever starting over? I mean,
No, really. Like it doesn't.
Yeah.
Honestly, and
Once you have,
the
like,
DLC
6
is so crazy, it feels
Oh,
that
okay.
it's like, yeah, it's
Is
so
the
different.
deal-
Man, 'cause- yeah,
is
go
the
ahead.
is the DLC an add-on to the end, or is it integrated into the game?
It's a separate
Yes.
map.
It's a new map. Okay.
Yeah, and I think you could take it any time.
But they added more survivors and other things that you can only get through that map somehow, or how does it work?
Yeah, you have to go through that map to unlock those other things. And then once you unlock them, if you go back to the other maps, those things can be there.
Okay.
Or
So
or
you
can
won't
get them,
ruin your
right?
experience of the original game, quote unquote, by adding on the DLC immediately.
No, but like if you go do a round in the DLC and then go do a round somewhere else, maybe there will be DLC weapons, but the weapons aren't better or worse than the other weapons
They're
so
just
far that I can
different.
tell.
Yeah.
They're just other weapons, yeah.
Yeah. Vampire Survivors.
I mean, if you want to ruin your experience, there's like ways to do a bunch of stuff that will do that if you want.
Michael, there's an important thing you should know.
Okay.
At some point in your playtime, you will have accrued lots of gold.
Yes.
In the meantime, between now and the real lots, not little bit of lots, but like real lots of gold, upgrade your character in any way that you see fit to help you do better at winning the game.
Yes, and I have been doing that.
But at some point in time, there is actually a correct way to purchase the upgrades.
Yeah. When you start feeling like you probably have every upgrade that there is and they start getting very expensive,
You're going to need to hit that little refund button and look on
Yep.
Reddit for the proper upgrade tree.
I think generally the order is
Most
buy
expensive
the
first.
most expensive things first.
They upgrade in a percentage of their cost based on purchases.
So I have noticed this. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that percentage is less when things are $200 versus when they are $10,000.
Right.
And it
So
doesn't
someone
matter
has
for a
laid out
long
the
portion
proper
of the
order.
game.
Oh, it doesn't matter hardly at all for
Until you get to the
hours
end
and
you're
hours
like,
and hours.
I have to spend 50,000 to buy one. No, I will not do this.
Mhm.
And
Let me
and
get
then
my
you-
money back and then
Yeah.
do this smart.
And then you buy that one first.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you have, more
Yeah.
than enough to cover it.
My little pieces of advice are to play your weapons strengths, which means oftentimes I run in concentric circles to
I've been
try.
doing lots of that.
It depends which weapons you have, honestly.
Yeah, you have to play to the
sometimes,
strengths, right?
sometimes you're like, I can only go to the left or right. I cannot go up. Like, it's not allowed. These
Yeah, 'cause you
weapons
have
don't
whip.
work.
Because you have
like,
a
this one
whip
is
and axe build.
Lateral only.
Yeah,
Or,
whip, axe, knife. Like, oops. Now I can only go left and right.
like and there are like, and to be clear, like there are achievements for doing things with like basically every single character. So you probably need to play every character, and they all start with different weapons.
Mhm.
So you got to learn all the weapons, and
Yeah,
you
so
want to anyway, because like starting with the knife plays so different than if
Well,
you
you
start
also-
with like the
you
garlic
also
or anything else.
Don't, and you have discovered this already, I'm sure. You will not unlock stuff unless you upgrade some of the weapons to like 4 and 7.
Yes, and I have been in the playthroughs that I have been doing the last couple. I have been trying to vary the things that I pick up because I've already started getting the combinations.
It is, in my opinion, always worth it to fight your way to a treasure chest if you see one.
Yes.
100%. Every single time worth it. Doesn't matter. Yeah. And like later there are different kinds of treasure chests, and it's still
Nice.
worth it every time.
I am glad. I'm glad today, Michael, that you have brought this to us again. In a year where we started with Vampire Survivors and it kind of fell off in the middle, and now we're talking about. We're going to be talking about our things of the year. This is going to happen before the end of the year this year, and Vampire Survivors was high on my "Can I pick it" list. I didn't, thankfully, and I'm glad we're talking about it now. Because that 1.0 release and then the DLC and rediscovering the Steam Deck, and the control, I'm not super happy with the Steam Deck. I want more resistance in the controller. It's pretty mushy. But that's a me problem, not a everyone else problem,
I think the control is, I mean, like I've been playing with an analog stick control for Vampire Survivors always. Like it's perfectly
and
good.
And thinking about I think it's good. I think it's just fine. I wish that the Steam Deck the controls on the Steam Deck were made by the people that made the Xbox Elite controller. To me, that system has perfect resistance.
Okay.
Yeah. This is just a
personal
fit and
preference.
finish
Absolutely.
kinda, yeah.
Absolutely a minor complaint. All right. I'm just saying,
Cool.
relearning Vampire Survivors on a controller that is not the one that I use 3 times a week to play other games has been a little bit tedious, but doable. And based on your suggestion, JJ, the D-pad is just not as good as the analog stick. It's just not. It doesn't, especially the Steam controller D-pad does not do diagonal well.
Yeah, the analog stick is the way to play if you're going to use a controller, in my opinion.
It just doesn't. It doesn't diagonal well, unlike the Elite controller, which does diagonal very well.
I want to ask Michael, how have you been finding the touchscreen? I played like a couple rounds on my phone.
Yeah,
I found it really hard to control.
This is where Michael says
you have been.
This is where Michael says he has one of those nifty contraption adapter controller things that he sets his phone into.
No, I don't. Although that might make my life easier. For the most part, I have found it relatively easy. I will say that part of where it probably starts to get harder is towards the 30-minute mark, when you're looking to make much smaller, tighter movements.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that same fine control that you would, say, with a controller.
How is it seeing the enemies when your finger's on the screen? Because a lot of times I have to see like that direction doesn't have the werewolves. I can go this way, but my thumb might be in the way.
So one of the nice things there is that you can touch anywhere on the screen to control it. You don't have to like touch in the middle. So I can touch in the bottom corner, and then it shows the little directional wheel in that corner, and I can move myself from there. So I'm mostly keeping my.
Is there an option
finger.
for on-screen controller?
It shows you the little kind of like a round joystick icon with the direction that you're facing, and yes, you can toggle it on and off.
Okay, I must have turned that off on my phone. I'm gonna go try it with that on and see if it's better.
Yeah, there are definitely times when I don't really have the freedom to look at it, because I'm trying to survive. But it is nice that when it does display, it displays basically wherever you touched, and so it can be out of the way of where you're actually standing.
Nice. Well,
yeah.
Vampire Survivors, yum. That's all I have to say.
Absolutely, I can. I understand the hype.
One of the greatest games this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, just for what he made, for the price he made it at, I think it's just a single person. I can't remember now. We talked about this before.
I have seen the credits. There are more than one person involved.
Oh, okay. There you go.
That's recent, by the way. I saw those like 2 days ago.
The team that made Vampire Survivors committing to such a low price point and just making something good. Not perfect. It's never gonna be perfect, but it's so good around itself and with its imperfections that it's like, yeah, you can make games that are this for this price, and they don't have to be phone games with all sorts of wacky stuff, Then I can't imagine. And he didn't even have it on phones for that long, or they didn't. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it only came out in like 2 weeks ago or something on phones.
Super recently, right?
They made enough money not on phones to put it out on phones for free. I mean, it's just backwards from everything that everyone's been telling everyone, and that makes it one of the contenders for Game of the Year if we did that kind of thing just on its own. But
yeah, I mean, I published a list elsewhere, and Vampire Survivors was number 2 on mine.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm glad we talked about it again. I have a question based on something that happened to me tonight. We were making chili. It's a good meal for feeding a lot of people. And someone said, "Hey, you got anything to spice this up?" And I looked in the fridge, and out of my mouth came the words, and I wrote this down: "Oh no, hot sauce." And I noticed that I had slowly been going through hot sauce this year and not rebuying because I had overbought some hot sauces.
Right.
And I had a bunch in the pantry, etc., that I had been going through. I had hot sauce to find other places. There was not a shortage. I just needed to get more. But the thought came to my mind, what is the hot sauce if you look in your fridge and say, oh no, hot sauce? Or on your shelf if it's not a hot sauce that goes in the fridge. Like, sriracha goes in there because it needs its color protection and all that sort of stuff. But, if there's other hot sauces I have that are non-fridge hot sauces. If you have a hot sauce that's not in the fridge or is in the fridge and it's gone and you say, oh no, hot sauce, what is the hot sauce that you have a backup of at all times?
For me, it's Louisiana hot.
It's good. That's another similar to
It's the same as like Crystal.
Crystal, yeah. That's the
Crystal.
One that JJ got, the Crystal.
Yes.
Yep. We love Crystal in this household.
Mm-hmm.
Crystal's great. They're very similar.
Crystal bottle you gave me is what went on chili tonight when I said, oh no, hot sauce, and I went in the pantry and grabbed it.
So good on chili. So good. We always have that one around the house, but because we bought a ton of it in the past, not because like we buy it all the time frequently. I think sriracha is actually the answer for me. We always have to. I feel like I have to have a bottle of it all the time because it just is so versatile.
I think that I agree with that. Having grown up near sriracha and having sriracha been such a staple in every kitchen, including kitchens that don't like hot sauce that much, like my mom's not a hot sauce person. She also still has sriracha in the kitchen.
I mean, like if I'm going to have a pho, I need to have some sriracha.
Yeah, you gotta be there.
If I'm going to have like a Chinese noodle dish, I want to have sriracha.
Fried rice.
Going to have fried rice, sriracha is like, it's versatile on like every Asian cuisine that I can think of. And then it's great on non-Asian cuisine. Eggs, like fry an egg, sriracha, so good. Like it
dissolves really well into soup.
Oh yeah,
all soups in general. Yeah, sriracha. Okay, that's it. 2 out of 3 srirachas. Also, Michael, I do love Louisiana. Not to put you out on a raft or anything, but
look, I'm an equal opportunity hot sauce lover, and Louisiana is one of those ones that you should have.
All right,
everyone
Michael.
should have some around.
Michael, as this is 339, and it's the it's the episode of multiple threes. There's 3 of us. 3 to the power of 3 is not 9. No, it is 9. I don't know. Nope.
No. 3 to the power of 3 is 27.
Yeah,
That's
27. Correct. Okay, we're off track here. Forget it. Michael, pick a number between 1 and 3.
3.
Okay, you're going first.
All right.
This is our Things of the Year 2022 edition. We've done this 5 years in a row.
Goodness. I should look back.
We did do it.
No research. Moving on.
Research. We've done all sorts of things. It doesn't have to be games. Often mine is some sort of thing that is way too abstract and requires explanation. It's fun. It's exciting. I'm taking up Michael's time.
Well, that's fine because I'm going to scoop you on the abstraction.
No.
It was bound to happen at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave this a lot of thought, and I was trying to come up with, one specific thing, something I saw, something we played. And what I kept coming back to, given the last 2 years, really, I think my thing of the year, and this was kind of driven by thinking of something you and I did a couple of weeks ago. Andy was going to a hockey game.
Heck yeah.
My thing of the year for this year, and it is very specific to this year, I think, is a kind of a leveling off of new normalcy.
New normal. That's your thing of the year. New normal.
Yeah. Because this was the first like real year for me that was entirely hybrid work schedule, and that's a thing that didn't really exist for the majority of jobs in years before the last year or so. But also things like going back to sporting events or going back to indoor concerts. But just getting back to kind of the rhythm of having a routine and of being able to go places and see people and like being comfortable doing those things and being around people again.
I'm tearing up over here, buddy.
Man.
No, he's right though.
Sorry,
he's
sorry
right
to scoop your abstraction, but
no,
yeah,
you're right.
That's
And
kind of where I was.
I think it extends to a lot of what we've talked about personally on this podcast over the year. There's been a lot of rediscovering games, not in so much as like JJ was. What did you just restart, JJ? Suikoden.
Yeah, I played it a little bit on the RetroArch.
Not exactly what I mean in that sense. More rediscovering what we've liked in games, and kind of talking about that a little bit more this year. And I think some personal issues this year, and getting back into PC building a little bit this year. Some of the basics of the normals that we let go during 2020 and during the parts shortages and during everything that happened. It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense that you would go with, hey, let's see each other in person and talk about Rings of Power or Game of Thrones or what, instead of Zoom call about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Went back to a football game this fall. It was great.
Yeah. I mean, the other great thing is like, then you could still do a Zoom call about it if you want, right? Like that is part of the normal. Yeah. And no one would say, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Just like, no, everybody is totally fine with, hey, let's set up a Zoom call this weekend because we haven't all talked in a while.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. JJ.
Yes.
Pick a number between 1 and 3.
Oh, okay. Wait.
Yep.
2.
Uh-huh. Congratulations.
JJ answered the question correctly.
Yes, he did.
I mean, you said between, and I was like, wait a minute. I have to pick 2? Okay.
There's only one number between.
I thought about it. Yep. So Michael was profound, and I'm going to be not profound. We do eventually talk about video games on this podcast sometimes. We do. And I'm going to talk about video games, if that's all right.
Mm-hmm.
I think my trend, my thing this year that I really have liked is finally, it seems, the remasters and the re-releases have come for the games I want.
Aha. I like this.
Finally.
Yeah, finally.
They've been remastering games for so long, right? And this is the first year where I felt like a bunch of releases and stuff were like really targeted at my interests, right? Elden Ring came out this year. I think it was my favorite game of this whole year. I mentioned earlier Vampire Survivors was my second.
Not a remake, but definitely a genre continuation.
Right. And a new high point, I think. But there have been a ton of older games that have been targeted like squarely at me. The Tactics Ogre Reborn release came out. That is an awesome game from the PSP. And before that, from the PS1, that is just a fantastic strategy game. There's a Suikoden 1 and 2 remaster coming out next year. Oh my God, that's like literally, like they just like looked straight at me and were like, here you go. This is what you specifically wanted.
Your name will be on the box, JJ.
Yeah. There's a new Baldur's Gate game coming out next year. There is Persona 5 Royal came out on PC and was amazing. I just got the Platinum Trophy in that last week. They're doing updates for Persona 4 Golden, adding new features. They're updating Persona 3 and putting it out on PC. They're putting out Trails from Zero came out and was amazing. Azure is getting a release very soon.
Yeah.
Return to Monkey Island is also one of my favorite games this year. And that is like a laser nostalgia for like, yo, this very specific old type of PC game. And like, I think it's cool. They're coming out with a brand new Armored Core game. What? Like that is so bonkers. And this stuff is like, it finally feels like they remastered every, like Halo got all its remasters, Gears of War, all the big like popular games, and they're like, all right, what's left? You got to find like niche stuff that's good. Where's all the good niches? Here we go. And like finally they got around to mine this year.
Yeah.
And I really hope it continues.
It'll be an interesting world now that all this stuff is PC or current gen compatible, which means it can keep continuing forward, right? Even if it's not on a PC, it's the stuff they've remastered or re-released from PS2, PS3. They're finding ways to get them to run on PS4s, PS5s.
Well, and like they have done stuff with old games that is like unbelievable, like Portal with RTX. We talked about that. Did we talk about that last week, or was I just talking about it?
No,
because I brought up that it had just released.
Oh my god, I played some of it. It's so good. Like Portal is such a fun game, you guys. I know, like, talking to the two guys who played an entire playthrough of Portal on the channel, but like
there's youtube.com/ no wait, what is it, Michael? youtube.com/
no, you were almost there.
At We Were Gamers.
Yeah,
with the at symbol.
So check that out.
Yeah,
at We Were Gamers on YouTube.
There's a game streams, I think is what I put it under, video list. You can
that
watch
was Portal 2, and like I'm playing 2. Portal 1, and this game still rules.
It probably looks better than Portal 2 did.
With the RTX stuff, it absolutely does, and it's not even close. Like, you guys need to go check it out. It's really, really sweet. And you know, just like it is, like this technology supposedly NVIDIA claims is applicable to other games of this type, and you can like kind of make this RT ray tracing stuff just work in other games in some ways, which would be unbelievable. Just like, oh, I'm just going to go back and add ray tracing to The Witcher 1 or like, you know, some old 3D type game that supports this stuff. It's like crazy.
It reminds
Batman
me of
Arkham Asylum, right? Like, oh my God, with ray tracing.
It reminds me of that weird era of PC games where they kind of had like a mini, oh, maybe we should make some PC games like Skyrim and Dragon Age and all these other things that are like super moddable. Maybe people would like that, and those games are still around. They don't super have remake. I mean, Skyrim got a remake, quote unquote, but like all they did was patch in the stuff that people made to continue to make those games look amazing. And it's kind of funny that like the games that were just too old to have, like, if you know, like Tactics Ogre didn't come out on a PC, you can't keep adding in higher and higher res textures like you used to be able to. I mean, yeah, having rediscovered some DOS games and the fact that they brought them back on Windows with just higher res textures, like it's kind of funny that now the remakes and reselling of these games is kind of just like, what if we made texture packs for some of this stuff and then like made it run really good?
I mean, you know, with Tactics Ogre, they also added a bunch of voice acting, which wasn't in the game before. But like, I mean, you know, the voice acting is all well and good, but look, that game is like 100 hours long or something. You're not there for the voice acting, probably.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. Please continue to market directly to me. Yes. Thank you, companies out there.
Yeah. I guess that leaves me to go.
Yeah, Andy, you have to pick a number between 0 and 2.
1.
It's you,
right?
Sounds like it's your turn. Yeah,
it's you. I was checking the results. Sorry, I had to look at
that. Oh no, I was getting out my TI-83 just to make sure. I wanted to go abstract, and I started with a concrete item that was in my hands and thought, this isn't quite my thing of the year because I haven't done it enough, but it's related to a feeling I've had in the last 3 or 4 months that we've actually worked through on the podcast. But I don't know if like working through personal issues is really my thing of the year. But
it can be anything you want. It could be if you want.
No, but it wound me back to like, well, why was this important, and how did it affect me over the course of the year, and some stuff that I've done. And I realized that the process of unwinding myself from a lot of, I would call it like physical things, or like the detritus of collecting over the years, has revolved lately around like, what do I do with old game systems as I upgrade TVs and all this sort of stuff, and like the nostalgia factor of having a thing but it doesn't run, and we've talked about emulation and all this sort of stuff, and so thinking about what has enabled me personally to kind of move on from letting myself just fret over not being able to get rid of things has been a real wave of hardware availability this year. New hardware finally being accessible and open to everyone has really changed a lot for me. Having a new PC that does things way more and faster than my old PC. Having a PlayStation 5 now that does all the things I had on the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 3, all the digital games that I had there, all the, it does all that stuff. And buying a Steam Deck as well, right? It wasn't the impetus for buying those items, but then as we went through the year and I started using them more, and JJ and I sat there and said, can we get emulation running on some of this stuff? Or like, can it replace 5 or 6 things here? I realized like the new hardware that is starting to be more readily available. And I heard there's a new rumor today actually about a PS5 Pro. I don't know.
Who knows, man?
Who knows? I've picked hardware before. I picked a Switch one year. That was a little bit of a mind bend, I think, for a lot of people. Hey, I can play real games on this thing. I can really play not just real games on that Steam Deck. And Steam Deck was also almost my thing of the year. I think, though, my thing of the year is using the Steam Deck and emulating stuff allows me to accomplish my thing of the year, which is saying it's okay to let things go. It's okay. It's okay in the new normal to say, I'm just not going to do that farming in that game. I'm not going to play Forza until I unlock the very last barn find, which takes another 43 hours of playing the game, right? Like, I don't have to do it. I don't have to hold on to these SNES cartridges because they're just here. I can play them on a thing. And so there's a lot of stuff this year that I think a lot of people, after I've seen it around, and it's not everyone, but it's a lot of people that after 2020 you want to cling to things and hold them tight, and sometimes you just have to force yourself and say it's okay. And there are items out there that are more advantageous to new normals that let you let go of old things, right? Like the new normal says, I don't really want to fiddle with getting the SNES working. I can just lay in my bed and play the SNES on this other thing that I already bought.
Yeah, and I think it's a great, I don't know, epiphany is like maybe too strong a word, but like it's a great understanding to come to.
Yeah, and as someone who is, currently doing a massive purge of their apartment, that one really resonates with me, right? Just being able to like, I don't maybe I don't need this stuff anymore. Or like I do, or the flip side of that, which is I do want this stuff, and the process has helped me like crystallize the reasons why it means something to me and why I want to hang on to it.
I think JJ had a pretty salient point about looking at his shelf and seeing his old games, and that to me, I thought for a long time about, well, if I'm not going to play my Nintendo 64 anymore because I can play Vigilante 8 Second Offense N64 edition on my Steam Deck, well, then I must get rid of it, right? But instead, I can say, no, that N64, that is my N64, and it's extremely important to me. But the 9 games that I don't really care about that are sitting in the drawer don't need to be here. And the N64 and Shadows of the Empire can get taken out from this cabinet where I can't see them and used as something to put on my shelf that I can look at and enjoy looking at, even though I might be able to fiddle with and get it playing. I could also just let it be what it is, which is a very old piece of hardware that is nostalgic, but doesn't really have a place in my life.
You know, and if what you want is to access that experience of sitting there and looking at it, you can do that with that. And if you want to access the experience of having played those games, you can do that too, but it doesn't have to be, you know, together with, you know, those are separate experiences that you can have independently of each other.
I think that really came to a point when, and this is why I almost just said, oh, Steam Deck's my thing of the year. But that came to a head when we put that thing on there and I got Pokemon running within 40 minutes. From stock Steam Deck to Pokemon running in 40 minutes was like, well, what am I doing? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's really, and there are collectors out there, and I don't want to poo-poo on collecting. Collecting is a thing. It's really a thing that you can commit to. But like for Michael and I, especially, like you're headed into a world where like you just don't sometimes have the time to maintain everything that you want to maintain. You just don't.
Or the space.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I have come, you know, we've talked a lot about how I got way into whiskeys and bourbons. And I have run into that with that, right? Like if I wanted to get every single one of these bottles and every single one of these single barrels and all these interesting things that I'm curious to try, I couldn't, right? Like it's not even available. And even if it was available, like I don't have space for this stuff. And so, you know, it can become a process, right? It can be something that you can do over a lifetime. I'll try all of these one day. And, you know, I'm not too worried about the alcohol business going out of, you know, going out of
anywhere. It's not going away anytime soon.
Yeah, they're not going away. And similarly, like the video game business isn't going away. And they're going to keep doing stuff like this. And so there will be other stuff to check out. And if you want to go back to old stuff, people are coming up with great ways to let you do that.
Tim Rogers says there will always be more old games than new games. And what you just said about if I wanted to do this, it would take a lifetime really resonates with the Steam Deck, especially proving like, hey, Steam's gonna be right here in your hands. All the other game places, right? Like the PS5 store is going to be right here on whatever PlayStation device going forward. They've understood on all these systems that people want these things to keep working long term. And a lot of stuff that I think
except Nintendo. Nintendo hasn't understood that.
Okay, I didn't mention them in this statement, and
sorry.
Intentional. The things that I think pre-pandemic felt like it was a race, even for things that weren't limited, it was like a race to the Steam sale's on. I gotta get all the new games on sale. I gotta get them now. They're still there, and now they're $5.99. Except if they're made by Ubisoft,
they'll be on sale next year, right? Like that's the other thing too. Is like, you know, there will be a Steam winter sale coming up here in several days. If the game you want isn't on sale,
it's okay. It's okay to let it go for a little while.
Yeah. And it'll be on sale next summer or next winter or the winter after that. And like, you can play it then. In the meanwhile, 10 billion other games.
You know, I don't want to step on it because I'm probably just going to buy that Jedi game when it comes out because I want to play it right away.
Yeah. And that's valid too. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the kind of thing that you can come to, right? Is that it helps you know, like, okay, this is something that is worth my time and that I actually want to like do when it first comes out.
And I have the new hardware to play it. I have set myself up in deciding that I don't want to collect every single edition of Invincible covers or every single old SNES game because I already have 33 of them, or every single, I don't, if I set those things aside, I can afford and have time to do the things like that we collectively on this podcast love, which is, you know what? In a year or two, we're going to talk about one of us upgrading our computers. I guarantee it.
Seems inevitable.
Those 40 series cards actually don't seem like they're 20 series cards. So maybe we'll be talking about that,
Yeah.
Probably I'll have to get power supplies too.
I think I'm running 1,000 watts already. Just because it was the cheapest one. I can't remember now.
Here's an idea for you, JJ. You can run a refrigerator off of it and then put the card in the refrigerator to keep it from overheating.
Yeah. I sincerely don't believe.
Where's the guy pointing to his head like smart meme? Right there?
It's isn't that LeVar Burton?
No, it's not LeVar Burton.
I think it is.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay, I wish. Oh, anyway, it's an 850. It's not 1,000. But I think I could run like I don't know what would even fit. To be honest, I've got a small case.
Yeah, you should check dimensions. Those cards are big.
I am shopping I think right now, man. I gotta get my pandemic money out of this thing.
Hey, I don't know. You guys qualify for that California rebate. Hey, sorry, people from other places. California's giving us free money for no reason. Not no reason, but
budget surplus reasons. tax surplus reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, we'll leave that for 2023.
Yeah. Yep. Well, those were our things of the year. Michael, I don't really want to talk about the FTC gaining $520 million from Fortnite because that's not really our bag. Should we do the last COTC update of the year?
Sure. I mean, there's big news to talk about as of today, just a few hours before this.
Let's go.
The boy?
The man.
That's what they call him, right? The man. He's not a boy, he's a man.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah. We'll all, by the time we talk to you all in January, we'll all have Cyrus, right?
I think so.
I mean, there's no chance. We all have more than 3,000 rubies, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
The thing that will be interesting is how many things that aren't Cyrus all of us get. That is what I'm curious about.
That's what I'm curious about. Yeah. I think
if you pull Cyrus on the first one, what are you going to do?
So I think I'm set at this point just because I was set on doing it for so long, but now that it's here, I have to make the choice. But I think I'm set on doing the full set of 10 pulls regardless.
Yeah, I think
just to beef up my roster and maybe try and snag some extra 5 stars.
Yeah. There's a couple of 5s that I would really love an Awakening one on, just because they're like, they're in like the 90s, and it's like once you get to like level 90, it's like getting past there takes a million years. So it's just like, you get like 5 HP when you get to level 92 or whatever. It's like not a big deal anymore, and you have basically all the skills that matter, right? And it's like, okay, what I really could use is like one big chunk, like 500 HP, right? And like I don't want to use the accessory for this, and like that Awakening would really, really help for some of the units that like get owned on those cups, specifically those cups.
I think A3 on the cups is really the moneymaker with the extra HP.
Yeah.
It's not as necessary with 5 stars, but 4 stars almost assuredly.
Yeah.
Well, with the 4 stars, like if you end up with enough guide stones, you can just buy the A's, right? Isn't that how it works? It's just like,
and they just
way tons of guide stones.
Yep, they're gonna give you like another $1,000 or something like that.
They did 2 days ago.
Yeah.
I think
they gave you 5 Awakenings.
Yep. I think I will be pulling full as well because I am the only non-owner of a full 5-star roster here, and Viola alone would change my roster measurably.
Yeah, I would really, honestly, almost as much as Cyrus. If I got Lynette, I would be like over the moon.
Man,
As someone who has them both, yes, pull for both of them.
Lynette's so good.
For me, I think it would probably be Primrose, and then
Primrose is so good, man.
maybe an Awakening for Fior or Sophia.
I have an Awakened Fior, and she is a monster. A literal monster. I have Twilight 4 on her, and she hits some stuff in the like 70 and 80 range sometimes if you set it up right with a debuff and a buff for like 50,000 a hit.
I love to hear it. See, the funny thing to me is like I have with Viola and Primrose, I have like such good debuffing, but my buffing is terrible because I don't have Lynette. I don't have a lot of like the buffs I have are like single person, and so like I'm really bad about using them. So when Andrew said it's like 60,000, I was like, man, I don't get 60,000.
I didn't hit 60. I've hit 51,000.
I don't hit 50,000. I hit like, I get like 30,000s, and I'm like, all right, that's pretty good. But I'm missing that extra 20%.
And that's a combo thing where like, you've got debuff from a previous Crumbling Cut. You've got debuff from like a Cedric debuff. You've got buff from Lynette. You've got buff from Camilla.
You can't get numbers like that unless you're really setting it up.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's how you win those cup fights and those big bosses. Like that's how you do those fights.
Sometimes that dragon, who I have beaten regularly, sometimes that dragon just wallops you because the randomness of the attacks can just back to back to back to back make you not have turns.
Yeah, it keeps knocking you into the back row, and you basically can't
just never get turns. And so, like, being able to do a huge burst of damage has become really important for consistency. I don't know. That might be one of those things that I may take my thing of the year advice and just say, I don't need to do this anymore for the 5% chance at an item I don't even think I want.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, I haven't unlocked that dragon.
Oh, you should beat it once. You get like 100 rubies for beating it or something.
And a free item.
And a free item. Yeah.
So yeah, do it once, and then I haven't gone back.
Yeah, but like, I have to go find so many elites I never killed? That might take a really long time.
That I do just because of the fun.
The funny thing is, as we go farther forward, I will have all those elites because in the newer content, I've been clearing all of the elites, but in the old content, I didn't.
Yeah. I had done it already because the stamp weapons. I wanted to just get upgrades for stuff without having to farm a ton, and they were a good way to do that.
I will probably eventually do it because 100 rubies is a lot, and killing those elites gets you like 2 rubies the first time or something like that. So
yeah, get a good amount. So
did you, Andy? Did you have fun with that adventurer?
Once you understand the dog, it's very beatable. I didn't lose. I made it halfway into the fight thinking, I don't know if I can recover this because I didn't understand the dog. And then you just sort of you can eke out a rhythm and make it through the fight if you understand. So JJ, don't be afraid of the Elvis thing. You can do it probably.
Okay.
Now that said,
my Elvis is still a 4-star. I haven't even gotten him to 5 yet.
That said, you beat it, and then there's an acquire more, and the adventurer turns into a level 100.
I haven't even gone back.
No, and beating the adventurer gives you another 100 rubies. But beating it the second time doesn't give you the level 100 doesn't give you anything. So whatever. It gives you heroite, I think, but who needs it really?
I mean, people that are trying to awaken Elvis need it, but who's doing that?
Michael did that without beating the adventurer.
Well, this more than once.
Elvis, it doesn't even crack my roster these days, and so I'm just like, why? I'm not.
I don't have any lightning. I have Mabel and Elvis. That's it.
I have Theo. He has a 1-hit lightning. That's all I got. Cyrus, where are you? You're my lightning mage and my dark mage. Come on.
I'm working on a pretty solid lightning team at this point. When Cyrus drops, I'll have 3 different scholars that all have lightning access.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
It makes that BT dagger fight real fast.
Dude. Although the BT dagger fight is something that I have managed to pull off decently well.
I think it helps that a lot of sword users have 3-hit attacks.
Yeah. I was going to say that BT dagger fight was all about swords for me. Like I have one guy with a really good lightning nuke. It's Theo, but no one else.
Yeah. I have.
But you can chew through some shields.
I mean, Fiora and Trish wreck that fight pretty quickly.
Yes.
Cool, man. Well, I'm excited. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. How funny would it be if they're like, Cyrus was overpowered, we've changed him for EN?
So, very possible, right?
No, they said that they won't degrade characters, only upgrade characters.
And they announced
never trust, only verify.
Yes, sure.
They also announced his skill set in the Tavern Talk today, and it is the same set.
The same. All right, fine.
As much as I like the conspiracy theory, I do recall them saying they would just leave it alone.
I am curious if like now because of this, now they're like the next mage though, power crep. And it's like, they're like, oh, this guy used to have like a 2-hit lightning. This is now a 4-hit, and his like 3-hit ice is actually now like a 10-hit. And they're just like, spend money.
Well, I 1,000% would believe it, which is why I'm like, what would they really follow up that with to make people spend money? And that's why I was like, Nier would come right after just to make people spend money.
Yeah, for them to have done this right before they get to the big 6-month anniversary, they've got something planned, and they're trying to get people to spend before it comes.
Mm-hmm.
And jokes on them for it.
Jokes on them. I've got 8,000 rubies.
We've raised the prices on all the collab characters. I'm kidding. Who knows what they're going to do? I mean, it could also be that they are using this as a way to bring a lot of people back to the game, and, people that have fallen off. I know I've seen on the subreddit and places people that are like way into collecting the original 8.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this was one of the original 8, right? So people are way, way into this guy for sure. Besides him also then being overpowered.
Well, in the meantime, next week we will be off, but we won't be gone. We'll put out a subspace transmission, JJ.
Ooh, yeah, good one.
Uh-huh. They've had one in the can. We decided we all needed some time next week because it's the literal day after Christmas, which finds us all slightly busy, I think.
Yeah.
In the meantime, though,
are we all going to be back for the day after New Year's, though? Which is the week after that?
That's a good question to ask live.
Yeah, maybe we'll
talk about it later.
Circle back.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, folks, you can find us on YouTube at We Were Gamers. YouTube.com/@WeWereGamers. Did I do it right?
I think so.
Yes. We have a URL. Go there at We Were Gamers on YouTube.
It's pretty funny that they made people work so long to get these URLs, and then they were like, you know what would be better for YouTube is if everyone had URLs. It's like, yeah, we knew this.
I mean, there was a reason they only gave it to like really popular accounts, right? Because it was a big feature.
Yep.
Then finally realizing, oh, this is good for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. So that's us on YouTube. Definitely check us out there. That's really important. Follow us on your podcast of choice. I know you're listening to this now, but you could be listening to us. We talked about how great doing stuff on the go is, like podcasts.
Oh yeah.
And we're on social media. We're on Facebook at We Were Gamers, other Twitter, Instagram, all kinds of places. Follow us on there.
Oh yeah. Somebody told me that we're not on Amazon Music. I'll fix that over the break. So 2023 will be on Amazon Music.
Wow. Is there
an upgrade?
Okay. Cool. I didn't know they had a like RSS.
Yeah, they allow
capable
podcasts now, and I didn't realize it, so I will sort that out over the break and get that set up.
We are on Spotify though. Follow us on there, and Stitcher too. Check us out.
Yeah. You guys, I lost that Vampire Survivors run by 13 seconds.
What were you playing?
Oh, don't worry, man.
Podcast.
No, I finished it up in the first like 2 minutes.
Oh yeah. It's a heartbreaker when that happens. Like literal.
What was your
like,
build,
how?
man? I got to know.
So let me see if I can remember. I had infinite daggers. I had the book fully upgraded. I had the cross.
Did you have the evolved book or the regular book?
The evolved book.
Okay.
The evolved daggers. The fire wand. I think the problem, though, I know the problem. I didn't have either the evolved whip or the evolved garlic to steal health back.
So garlic is really good on the first level.
I've come back into liking garlic more, honestly.
I'm unconvinced about garlic beyond the first level.
So I think the thing about garlic that gets rad is once the area increases a bunch, it becomes ridiculous. It can be like as wide out as the book. And then you just have like a zone of death that no one can approach. Although you also then need the collect from far away upgrade because you can't get any XP because everything dies over there.
Yeah. I think having a mix of range, right? So garlic to cover close, and then something like the whip to cover intermediate distances, and then what's the one that bounces all around the screen? To cover
Rune Tracer?
The Rune Tracer to cover
Rune Tracer's pretty
farther away.
Once it gets high. Yeah.
The evolved Rune Tracer is broco.
The problem with the Rune Tracer is
closed spaces.
You really need inlaid library or something like that where it bounces around a lot, and then also you need support stuff because it doesn't get good until high end.
Yeah, you can't pick it as like your second weapon or whatever. You're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, which is why it's like cool to get to know all the weapons.
Yeah, there are some really ridiculous later game weapons that I don't think either of you two have seen, which I love and are my favorites. But nice. I don't know why. I think of the classic ones, like the ones you see like straight from the beginning. I just love that book, man. I don't know why I like the book so much. I just love the book.
I don't think
it's like even the most damage. Like I just think I like it. The idea.
I went back through and figured out like, oh yeah, I need to unlock that. Oh yeah, I need to unlock that. And I finally got ebony wings unlocked. I still have to do ivory wings.
So you have ebony wings, but you don't have peachone?
I have peachone and ebony wings, but you also need ivory wings to get a fully upgraded peachone.
Wait, no. Peachone is the non-evolved form, right? Yes. You just need the two birds.
Yes.
Yeah, you need peachone, ebony wings,
and you put those two together.
Don't you need another set of wings? Oh, I thought you need two. Aren't there two sets of wings?
I mean, there's the wings that are just increased speed.
Oh,
yeah, you don't need those. You don't need those upgrade something else. Oh, but you want the two birds together, and you upgrade both of them. And when they both hit max, you evolve.
The upgraded bird is where it's at.
The problem is those birds suck by themselves. I hate those birds.
That was not great to try and use.
Nope, you have to learn what sucks, and you can't have too many things that suck early.
Yeah. The funny thing is that I have learned about those birds is that they are great, and you're like, you have a decent build going. You're like, oh, the bird. Yes, I have 2 slots left. I'm gonna get this bird. I'll find the other bird.
Then you never get the other bird.
No, you're not. You're never going to find that other bird. Doesn't matter how many level ups you get.
The cool thing is if you get both birds and you get them early enough and you do the right, slow leveling of them by the mid game, then you open up another weapon slot and now you have lots of damage.
There is another weapon that works like those birds later that is also similarly amazing.
Yeah.
That might be my favorite one. But yeah, I just
found the map, which is great.
Essential for finding secrets.
Yes.
Oh, I don't
Andy,
have.
Do you have them, bro?
I think it's on that level that he's already unlocked.
Yes, it was. It's on the dairy plant.
Yeah. Yep. I have to get. I unlocked inlaid library yesterday.
Again. Every level has random artifacts like that. And every level also has free weapons and items on the ground in it somewhere. So, and they like, because they're on the ground, you can pick them up even when your inventory is full. So you fill out your entire slot and you come across one that's sitting on the ground, you pick it up. Now you have a new one.
Well, the problem that I have had overall in relearning this game is like trying to level hard. And so I haven't been exploring the maps much because I'm kind of just doing donuts, trying to pick up experience to level hard so I can level weapons, because I know I need to level weapons to unlock weapons.
Nah,
So
man, just run straight for the thing right at the start of the thing. Who cares about the levels? They don't matter. Yeah.